This is going to be a very, very interactive session where we've got some very eminent and experienced people with us on the panel. Some of them are mill owners, some of them are in very senior positions in very big corporations, and some of us are here in the panel from the trading community as well. So without taking much time, I'd like to invite all my panelists on the stage. First of all, I'd like to invite Mr. Prakash Gupta, Senior Board Member and Director, Gemcorp Recycling and Technologies and Gemini Corporation. And Prakash, please come. Mr. Prakash is a Senior Board Member and Director at Gemini Corporation. Prakash Latha, okay. And he has a very rich experience of more than 20 years in international trade and has a great expertise in commercial and logistics aspects of the global supply chain of scrap business. He advocates for recycling and the circular economy and has been a prominent speaker at World Economic Forum in Davos and various international conferences. Welcome Vedji, thank you so much. And I think everybody in the room already knows you, right? Next up, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Chandragupt Prakash Mangal, Managing Director, Mangalam Group. Mr. Mangal is a Managing Director of Mangalam Worldwide and holds a degree in supply chain from the Kelly School of Business, Indiana University. He brings a unique blend of financial expertise and operational prowess to the stainless steel industry. He leads the procurement, manufacturing and marketing teams of the company, which is into manufacturing of stainless steel in Ahmedabad. Additionally, he is influential in building strong public relations for the company. Being a collaborative leader, he is passionate about empowering his team to reach their full potential. Thank you, Chandragupt, for joining this panel. Chandragupt. Next up, I'd like to invite Mr. Vishal Wadhwa, General Management of Procurement, Jindal Stainless Limited. Vishalji. Right. Mr. Vishal Wadhwa is a raw material encyclopedia. He's a professional passionate about ferrous and now non-ferrous scrap as well. I personally know him for more than 12 years and trust me when I say this, I've never seen a more calmer and a more polite person who is into buying of such critical raw materials ever. I think many people sitting in the room will agree with me. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Sudhakar Jain, Executive Assistant to the Director, Managing Director, Aarti Limited. Mr. Sudhakar, please. He's a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in business administration with a focus on operations and IT. He has more than 10 years of professional experience and previously worked with CSIR, Central Building Research Institute and National Productivity Council. Welcome Sudhakar. And our last panelist on the dais, Mr. Nirmalya, Executive Editor, BigMint. Mr. Dev is please come. He is involved in editorial operations of the company, BigMint, which was formerly known as SteelMint. He is keenly interested in steel market dynamics and green transition of the industry globally. Welcome. So just to set the tone for the panel, we are going to be talking about stainless steel, special alloys as well as alloy steel over here in this session. The global production of stainless, melt shop production of stainless steel as per World Stainless Association was around 58.5 million tons in the world in the year 2023, which was about a 5% increase over the previous year. We are seeing tremendous amount. Of course, China remains number one with about 37 million tons of stainless steel production per annum. And second up, we have India and other, if you look at Europe as a whole, then Europe is about at 6 million tons. USA is about 1.8 million tons. And Asia without China and Korea is about 6.8 million tons. In India, we estimate we are producing close to 3.8 million tons of stainless steel per annum. And we are expecting this growth to grow at a CAGR of about 7% per annum, and we should be reaching about 6.5 million tons by the year 2030. in India, it's a very, very unique market where we have very good big mills as well as a lot of small and medium-sized mills, which are all working towards sustainable development of the nation and infrastructure growth. And all the mills which I talk to, which I speak to, have mentioned that they have in near future growth and expansion plans coming on the fore, which means that the industry is positive, even though 2024 till now has been very, very challenging, driven by very tremendous pressure on the prices, but all the mills have short-term and medium-term plans to come up with their expansions. Very unique thing, and probably first time in India, we are eagerly waiting the first blast furnace to start in the year 2025, and I think I would be grilling Mr. Vishal more on this from Jindal Stainless. They are going to put up the first, they've already put up, but it's going to be operational by the early of 2025, and we are hoping that will set a new benchmark and will motivate other players in the industry to grow. So without taking much of the time, I'd like to invite the first speaker to give his short presentation. Mr. Nirmalya, you would like to start? Okay.
So good morning, gentlemen and ladies. I would like to start by conveying my heartfelt thanks to MRAI for giving us this opportunity to present our insights in front of such an august gathering. I have just a small presentation to discuss here, which is mainly database, because there are other experts on the panel who will dwell on the future insights of the market. So to start with, just a word about BigMint before we start. As we all know, it's a trusted platform for price reporting, market intelligence and consulting, which is a new feather in our cap. And the services we offer, of course, is known to most people. So we will just go to the next slide. So this is the global stainless steel market. Production, as we are seeing, is inching close to 60 million tons in 2023. And there has been a rise of 4.5% according to our data since 2015. So that is considerable. But going forward, we believe, as Sir rightly pointed out, that growth in India should be around 7%. So of course, the pace of global growth will be slower than the pace of growth in India. At least that is anticipated. And since the COVID-19 impact, we have seen disruptions in operations, but the recovery has been quite fast, and demand and prices have showed slight improvement. Although production has declined in 2022, as we know, due to different reasons, of course, inflation majorly, and also energy inflation, due to which producers were under pressure. So it was a tough year for the stainless steel industry, and globally, especially in Europe and in other parts of the world, and production declined quite rapidly. So there was a 4.2% decrease, and the geopolitical conflicts actually fueled the kind of decline that we saw in the market in 2022. In 2023, there was a marginal increase in production, which reached around 58.6 million tons. And notable growth was seen in Chinese production, because carbon steel production in China increased by 0.6% in 2023 year on year. But stainless steel production increased 12.6%. So this was quite considerable. And also imports of raw materials into China, for example, the NPI and especially from Indonesia and ferronickel, as we know. So imports also soared in 2023 because stainless steel production was quite high. And here also, as we are currently seeing, that demand may not be that great in China, but from the data that we have with us, there has been a slight decrease in imports. And, excuse me, beg your pardon, there has been a slight decrease in exports. And imports have been more or less range bound, while production has increased by 12.6% year on year. So that itself conveys a lot of things. Now, to shift our focus a little bit to India, of course, we know that capacity is estimated at around 6.4 million tons in 2024. The statewide capacity list we have here, Maharashtra tops the list, followed by Odisha. Of course, we know that some of the biggest players in the industry investing in Odisha in the downstream sectors, and of course, capacity is going to increase further going forward. Haryana, Gujarat, then Uttar Pradesh, and then the other states. This is just a state-wise breakup of stainless steel capacity in India. Now, the Indian stainless steel market, as we know, finished products. This is the graph showing the total. This is not the mill shop production. This is the finished production. Yes. So, from FY21, if we see, there has been an increase of 35%, which is quite substantial, because FY21, of course, we have to factor in the lethal impact of the pandemic. And since then, of course, production has increased by 35%, so which shows that the market fundamental is robust, and of course, their growth will be robust given the positive fundamentals. So, production capacity, as we know, is 6.2 to 6.4, with the utilization rate of 59 to 60%. Of course, utilization has been low, and we will come to that a little later. Imports accounting for approximately 1/3, mainly sourced from China and the ASEAN countries. Yesterday we had a fairly long discussion about the raw material scenario, I think nickel and everything else. So I don't need to, I'll just quickly skim through these slides. As we know that the nickel study group has forecasted surplus in 2024, but long-term demand from the battery industry for the EV sector and others, so the long-term demand is there. So even with a surplus, we can't rule out prices remaining firm around 2027, 2028 because of the exponential increase in demand. Domestic stainless steel scrap, of course, India depends a lot on imports. So, but this is just the price chart that we have here, which shows from January to June 2024. So prices have been had been quite low, but increasing now because there has been some kind of demand coming from the European buyers, and which is why scrap prices have rebounded lately. In ferroalloys, of course, as we see that molybdenum mainly entirely dependent on imports. In ferrochrome, of course, because I've spoken to industry experts, and they think that maybe there will be a kind of supply shortage in ferrochrome, because going forward, if we see that the kind of massive growth in stainless steel and the kind of open cut mines that we have for ferrochrome, so we need to maybe go underground. So, of course, chrome ore and all that. So there is a lurking supply crisis, maybe, if not a crisis, maybe some kind of an anticipated tightness in the market from 2032 onwards. So, scrap, of course, we already have spoken about, and the kind of discussion that we had yesterday about the global scrap trade dynamics and the waste shipment regulations of the EU and other countries imposing bans or kind of restrictions on scrap exports, which will really have a very detrimental impact on the industry, because we don't follow the MRAI route, we follow the scrap route, so of course it will be quite detrimental for the domestic industry. This is an interesting slide that we have in front of us. So India's stainless steel trade, as we see, so flat steel imports really surged from 0.5 million tons in FY29 to over 1 million tons. And in FY23 and 24, imports have remained steady at around 1 million tons. In FY24, there has been a very marginal decrease in imports, and flat steel imports constitute around 96-97% of total imports. So going forward, of course, there has been a significant sourcing from the ASEAN region, which is, of course, one of the biggest issues that the industry is facing today, and which is why capacity utilization has been traditionally quite impacted, and so of course imports remain a major source of concern. India's stainless steel exports, of course, have gone up by 20% in FY24, and the removal of the export duty, of course, has helped a lot in boosting exports. Although exports were not that great because of subdued demand in many parts of the world, many of the major importing geographies, for example Europe, which is why production we believe could have inched up a little more, but because export outlook was not that great, maybe there has been some kind of a constraint on production. This, of course, not 2025 and beyond, so there is some mistake, excuse me for that. This is showing stainless steel EXIM trend for exports and imports. We can see that imports have been quite high in FY23 and FY24, of course. As I said, that's a major reason for concern. Domestic stainless steel market, this is the outlook part that we come to, as sir was also saying, Ritesh sir was also saying that consumption is going to increase a lot. So according to our estimates, FY30 consumption is expected to touch around 6.5 million tons, and steady rise is expected, and because of the kind of phenomenal improvement that we have seen post-pandemic, so this forecast stands, and with a robust CGR of 8.4%. This is the sector-wise consumption that we have. Of course, the consumer goods industry making up for the most of it. So from FY24, it's around 43%, which is supposed to go to 45%. I'll just take one more minute. It's supposed to go to 45%, and the other sectors that we can see, the process industries and architecture, building, construction, all that. Global stainless steel consumption, this is something that the world stainless figures that we have in front of us, we can see steady growth in HR and CR consumption going forward in 2025. Of course, we see Europe is still facing a kind of crisis, but there has been a rebound, and that rebound should continue, although the IMF and the World Bank still thinks that the European economy is going to take some time to rebound fully. So that is one concern. The other concern, of course, the mill maintenance and all that's happening in South Korea, places like that. So, but scrap demand in H2 2024 is going to rebound. That we did, because in South Korea also we saw that mill maintenance and all that in the first half impacted demand, but going forward maybe demand will come up. And of course, in India we are expecting a lot of capacity expansion going forward, and the export market also going forward. One of the main points is that scrap demand in India has not been as bullish as we anticipated because of high imports of stainless steel semi-finished products like slabs and other things. So that would be an interesting trend to follow going forward vis-a-vis scrap. So in fact, this is the outlook, and I won't take much of my time. There are other speakers who will highlight of the other issues. Thanks to MRAI again for giving us the opportunity to present our insights. Thank you, everybody.
सुमित, मैं कैमरा मूवमेंट कर रहा हूँ. सुमित.
Thank you, Mr. Dev. Maybe during the question and answer round, we will reopen your slide. I have some questions already. Next, I'd like to invite our second speaker on stage, Mr. Vishal Wadhwa ji. Sir, please come. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know the entire Jindal team is down here. Yeah?
A very warm welcome and good morning to all the colleagues of all the industry participants of recycling industry, and a very good morning to the MRAI board members as well. So today I'll just, I'll go through the recent trends and challenges in the stainless steel industry in particular. So coming on to the recent, the key trends and challenges which we have been seeing from probably last 2-3 years, just after COVID. So this would be the flow of the presentation, and now on a global basis, in terms of volume, although stainless steel accounts just for 3.5%, however, when we see the similar trend on value terms, it accounts for almost 15% of the share. Now, as we have seen in the previous BigMint presentation as well, the stainless steel production in India is growing at a pace of almost 5.5% per annum, which is more or less double of the global average, which is 2.5%. Now, this growth is being fueled from the shift in the usage pattern. As you can see that earlier, particularly in India, most of the usage, almost 80% of the stainless steel consumption was accounted for by the hollowware or the utensil segment. However, now most of this shift is happening from the utensil segment to more value-added segments, more value-added series or products, basically the 300 and 400 series, which finally end up mostly in consumer durables, in industrial applications, in automobile applications. So this is the shift which is fueling the growth. Now coming on to the challenges, although there are a list of challenges which steel industry faces, however, the top three which came to my mind were the migration from globalization to nationalization. Now India got introduced to globalization somewhere around 1991. However, post-COVID, the trend again shifted from globalization. Every country in the world is now trying to, is trying to save their resource, is trying to now not allow other countries to enter their economy and harness their potential. So now this trend of globalization, which started in 1991, probably ended till 2021, and now it is again moving towards nationalization. This again leads to a overall geopolitical tension between various countries, or group of countries, which leads to shipping and logistics challenges, and these shipping and logistics challenges further leading to the end users. Now they are preferring to buy their material from near shore, which technically is termed as nearshoring or reshoring. Effectively, this has grown since, you can say, just after COVID, because prior to that, other than the seasonal demand changes, other than the seasonal price increase in shipping tariff, there were no abrupt or disturbing changes in the shipping rates. However, post-COVID and the post-COVID recovery, every 3 months to 6 months, something or the other keeps on happening in the shipping industry. This is just a graphical representation, which probably we have seen in the presentation by BigMint as well, that this effectively shows that the CAGR consumption of stainless steel in India is somewhere around 7.5%, whereas the global consumption is 4.5%. Now the demand drivers. What is fueling this demand? This 7.5% growth, where is it coming from? It is coming from these basic 4 sectors, which have been traditionally the demand drivers for stainless steel growth: automobile, railway, transport, process and engineering, architecture, building, construction, and consumer durables. However, these 4 traditional sectors have fueled the demand for last few years. But what the future holds for us? Now these are the traditional sectors as mentioned on the left hand side of my slide. But the future growth will come from the other 2 parts, which are the visible and evolving sectors and the futuristic applications. Visible and evolving sectors consist of green energy, defense, aerospace, agriculture equipment, and medical equipment. And the futuristic applications, which look futuristic at the moment. However, probably in another 5 to 7 years, these would move to the left of the slide and get into the traditional sector portion. So these are blue economy and national river linking project. Now, what the future holds for us in the recycling industry? Again, steel is steel recycling has been the core of the recycling industry as a whole. AI and Industry 4.0 would be the game changers in the coming years. The companies or the manufacturers which will adopt AI and Industry 4.0 would be the market leaders. Growing domestic demands, as I mentioned in my previous slides, there is a huge growth in the consumption as well as production of stainless steel in India. So growing domestic demands would fuel that growth. Trade barriers and geopolitics. Geopolitics we have seen in the last 3 to 5 years has been a crazy ride, and every now and then a market disruption happens because of this. This cannot be predicted, and this has to be dealt with as and when it happens. And again, growing investment in research and development. So whichever company, whichever industry does a good investment and does a good research would be able to provide the desired material, the desired grade, the desired quality for the futuristic applications as mentioned in the previous slide. And now I would like to end the presentation with a snippet from our sacred text, Gita. It is said that Gita has a million interpretations and everybody can make his own interpretation from the Gita. So I would like to share my interpretation from the viewpoint of a recycling industry participant. So here we can see that in our sacred text it's mentioned, जो आज तुम्हारा है कल किसी और का था और कल किसी और का हो जाएगा. And this I believe is the essence of recycling industry. Metals, non-metals, they will keep on circulating in the economy in this world and will get passed on from generations to generations. So thank you very much for a patient hearing, and I would like to end my presentation with this. Thank you.
Hello. Yes. Amazing, Vishalji. Especially the last slide, I think it has got everybody's attention. तो जो कल स्क्रैप हमारा था वो कल आपका हो जाएगा और फिर आपका फिनिश बहुत जल्दी हमारे पास वापस आएगा. I hope you will support us on the price, like you always keep asking us best prices. No, very thought-provoking slide. I think I had this presentation 3 days before with me. I had looked at it, but I did not look at one slide which I looked at now, and I found it very interesting. What are the current applications of stainless steel, and what is the future and evolving sector, and what is the the blue marine and that sectors you mentioned. I think that's very thought-provoking, and for many SS mills who are here and for us industry participants, it's very crucial to think ahead what's going to be happening 5 years or 10 years from now. Okay, so without taking much time, our panelists are very eager to share their views, and Amarji, maybe we will have to extend the session. Okay, we are just starting. Okay, so my first question here for Chandragupt ji, you sir. Welcome to the panel. Welcome, first time you are sitting with us in MRAI conference. So what I wish to know is you please explain to our audience what does your group do, what is your current capacity, what are your immediate plans, and do you have any plans for further expansion, what are the products you are doing, and particularly I want to know that your finished products, where are you selling mostly, India or exporting, and what is their share, please.
Good morning everyone. Hello. Yeah, good morning everyone. So I'd like to start off with what our group does. So as a group, Mangalam has been in business since almost 80 years now. Our primary sectors are agri, stainless steel, e-waste and structured finance. So coming to stainless steel, we are an end-to-end manufacturer having fully integrated setup starting from scrap melting. The capacity of the melt shop is around 66,000 metric tons per annum, and we are melting only stainless steel. We have an AOD unit and we are casting our billets, making our ingots, re-rolling them, and we have a bright manufacturing facility of around 18,000 metric ton per annum, and also a seamless pipes and tubes facility of around 12,000 metric ton per annum. So our products include long products as well as tubular products.
Okay. So what percentage of products, being a long producer in India, are you putting in domestic market, and how much you are exporting right now?
So currently the domestic market is 90% of our sales, and the exports is 10% only. And we are targeting to increase our export sales to around 25% in the coming couple of years. Our seamless pipes and tubes are primarily major share of exports right now, and we are planning to increase our capacities in bright bar manufacturing, long products, and as we increase our capacities, we'll be exporting more of those products as well.
So I also understand that you travel across the globe for various road shows and various exhibitions. So do you think the CBAM applications which will come into kicking very soon, so they're going to impact your exports, and you need to have a CBAM audit done at your plant as well?
Yeah, I think already the CBAM activities have started. All the mills in India are also going through this activity, calculating the carbon emissions and thinking about how to get these emissions down by using more of solar energy or green energy, maybe solar or wind.
Okay.
And it will be a key driver definitely, because Europe has and other countries also have plans to track the carbon emissions overall.
Okay. So I'm not going to leave you now. I'm going to ask a very sensitive question, because you know it always intrigues me whenever I'm trying to sell some scrap and I'm talking to a manufacturer. So all I hear is market is down, there's a lot of competition. And since you are sharing the stage with your immediate neighbor, I want to know that with presence of Jindal getting very dominant, I will not say dominant, but they are really pioneering a lot of work, and you are into long segments now, right? Especially, and I think in 200 series, Jindal is also there. So how do producers like you plan to have your market share also remain consistent? Because big producers will get big, and you of course also have to get big. It's a very interesting dynamics, and I personally feel the market has potential to absorb everyone. All of us can survive very well. So
like you said, that the market is huge, that everyone can survive. It's just about carving out your own niche in the market, focusing on a particular product, and increasing your efficiencies overall in terms of production, maybe marketing, and having a focus and creating that niche for you.
Niche product, okay. Thank you, Chandragupt. My next question, my next question for Mr. Prakash. Prakash, we understand Gemini is a very, very diversified recycling company, one of our very, very strong supporters for MRAI, right, since our inception. And we value your support, and we really appreciate the kind of stellar work Gemini has been doing all across. So what I wish to know, sir, we understand you are very much present in India's domestic recycling business also. How do you see this business, particularly India domestic recycling business, shaping up in next 3 to 4 years? And all this was topic yesterday, full day, and in all the conferences we go, that all the countries are getting increasingly more and more protectionist about their scrap. So in your trading operations, what kind of headwinds are you going to see? What do you expect in next 3 to 4 years? And how you are geared up for that?
So you have put two questions together.
Yes, 2 questions.
So let me answer one by one. First, the domestic recycling potential in India is huge. Huge. I think you all can agree what Mr. Gautam Adani said a few days ago, that it is the best time to be an Indian. We are going to add $1 trillion to our GDP every 12 to 18 months. So that means it will surge in consumption. There will be a huge surge in consumption. There will be a huge surge in demand. There will be a huge surge in every sector. That also includes recycling. Particularly on stainless steel, we have seen some numbers about the CAGR. I would like to put an interesting number. The growth of stainless steel metal is always in tandem with the growth of GDP. the only raw material which has grown over 5% in last 40 years. If you have seen copper, if you have seen aluminium, they all have been below 3%. So the recycling in India has a huge potential. Of course, it also poses a lot of challenges. We are recycling around 60 to 70% of our metals. But a major part of this recycling comes from informal sector, which needs to be formalized. So with the new policy coming in, with the demand going to increase in coming years, these challenges will go by itself, and India will open its potential to a great level. I'm very confident, and I'd like to say again that I totally relate to this statement of Mr. Adani, that it's the best time to be an Indian and it's the best time to be in recycling business. Second to your question, that the new protectionism. So, of course, we are going through what we see as a protectionism. I like to say that we are going through a green economic transition. And I give you a bigger perspective. So, world GDP is around $100 trillion, and international trade is only 8%, $8 trillion. And if we combine all the international trade of recyclable products, we are talking about only $100 billion. So from $100 trillion world GDP to $100 billion international trade of recyclable products is actually a fraction. So what we call protectionism is a very small impact on global level. Of course, in our industry, it makes a big difference. But coming to the question, how a company like us will handle these challenges? Well, every challenge brings new opportunities. I like to bring a complete different perspective into this discussion of plastic scrap. You know, or many of us know that we are very big in plastic recycling as well. 10 years ago, we had the same issue with plastic recycling. So Europe started banning plastic recycling one by one. There were a lot of new conventions being signed, like Basel Convention, etc., etc. This has changed the complete modus operandi of the business. But there has also increased a lot of new trade routes. So the demand for reprocessed plastic scrap increased tremendously, and thus Turkey became one of the largest importer of plastic scrap in 2-3 years. Europe is going to implement, hopefully or most likely, by 2025, a new e-waste export policy. So all the traditional material which used to be shipped out of Europe will not be going to the traditional market, but it may go to the OECD companies. So, for example, if the motors are going to Pakistan, it is possible that the motors might go instead of Pakistan to Korea. So new trade routes will appear.
Wow, that's a very interesting dynamic. Kind of eye-opening for me. Imagine motors not going to Pakistan, going to Korea. Wow. Yeah, but what I have seen in last 1.5 years of my experience, anything can be possible. Anything. If we think that A goes to B and it's going to be A goes to B forever, that's the biggest misconception. Amazing with Prakash. I have one more question, but I'll revisit you. My next question to our next panelist, Mr. Sudhakar Jain. Welcome, sir. Welcome on board. So we understand Aarti Steels is a very good emerging company in India, and you represent the Eastern India unit, which is near Qatar. So please, can you tell the audience about your group? What is your current capacity? What products you are making? And in particular, I'm very curious that you being in Eastern India and not many stainless mills are there or alloy mills are there in Eastern India. How do you see export markets particularly being workable from your region?
So, thank you everyone. Good morning. I'm Sudhakar. I'm an executive assistant to the managing director at Aarti Steels Limited. So, our Aarti Steel plant is located in Odisha, eastern part of our India. And in Odisha, we are having a sponge iron plant, 500 TPD kilns we are having, and other than sponge iron plant, we are having a power plant 90 megawatt capacity. We are also having a ferroalloy plant. We are doing annually 70,000 tons high carbon ferrochrome for Tata. And other than this, we are having a steel melting shop, so capacity of 250,000 tons annually. We are doing this, and we are having electric arc furnace, 40 metric ton capacity, LRF, vacuum degassing unit, caster, rolling mill, the chain. The bright bar shop we are having, we are doing blooming, ground bars, everything there. So we are basically in carbon steel and alloy steel. We are not in the stainless steel there. So in alloy steel, our major customers, our steels are going from Maruti to Mercedes, majorly to the automobile sector, OEs. Your next part is like how Eastern part is, we are, Eastern India, they are blessed with like raw material abundance. They are having iron ore, they are having chromite ore, and lots of other raw materials. In Odisha only, like they are doing like more than 100 million tons of iron ore, and this is something we can build a staircase to the moon also. In twice we can do this. But still there are lots of, like in Aarti, we are having electric arc furnace. Our carbon footprint is very low. So we are actually, we are not using nickel plate. We are not using prime materials for alloy steel. We are not using ferromoly there. We are utilizing the scraps. We are actually, we resist. We don't want to use the prime materials there. For it, it's very important to, to came in the innovations, to understand the R&D. There are lots of R&Ds doing by the CSIR labs, National Productivity Council, ministries, different PhDs, different theses are being, they are doing. But there is a time when public and private strategic alliances will be there, that whatever research students, research scholars are doing, whatever they are, what data they are giving, they can be reflected in industries also. As I say, like, in Odisha, we are also part of Gati Shakti scheme, Prime Minister Gati Shakti scheme. We are also, that's why it's really important to have public-private partnership there. So, lots of artificial intelligence is also be needed. Like, we're having a raw material abundance in Eastern India. So, but to maintain the demand and supply, to make most effective logistic supply, we are not doing so much export in stainless, what I know. But still there is a chance. We need to develop new grades. We need to invest in research and developments. Different universities, they need to study steel, what exactly, but what our raw materials are. So this is something which I think.
Great. I just remember, I think a couple of months ago, or maybe 2.5 months ago, we were having our MRAI board meeting, online mode, and one of our advisors proposed that MRAI should very actively work with research institutes and maybe come up with a specially designed program to how to promote research and development and how to get that fresh talent which is buzzing in our IITs to develop those, because what I feel that technologies are being experimented, developed, but the time it takes from those technologies to reach from the development stage to the application stage is very, very long. And we are going to do some stellar work under the guidance of our president. He is always very, very supportive, that how MRAI can help bridge this gap and get new technologies to the market through these councils which you mentioned. Thank you, thank you. I have still many, many questions, but I'd like to open the house open. I can see a lot of people from outside India also in this session. So I'm very, very curious if anybody has any question, any comment you would like to speak to our panelists over here. Anyone can raise the hand and the house is open. Okay. Anyone, no one. Okay, no problem. So, Prakash, I come back to you. So, the hot buzzing topic in stainless right now is LME. Okay, what is happening? Nobody has any clue. Okay, we traders are suffering, producers are smiling. They should. Right? Vishal ji is trying to hold back his smile. So it is volatile as ever, and nobody expected it. Even for copper, I mean, sorry, I'm talking about copper here, but it's the next session. But everybody was expecting things to be very bullish. And what is happening with LME? Do you have some idea? Can you show your comments on that?
Well, I can just give my layman's comment on that. Of course, it's a subject nobody can definitely say something. It's no secret that China holds the key for all the major raw materials. I was in China this week after a very long period of time, and I was amazed to see that not every single car was an electric vehicle, but bloody every car was an electric vehicle. every car was an electric vehicle. Every car was. Yeah, so the same question popped up into my mind. My God, what will happen to nickel? And I like to remind the people, in the early stage of electric vehicle battery manufacturing, we had a ratio of 1:1:1 of NCM. So nickel, cobalt and manganese, we had 1:1:1 ratio. Then it went from 1:1:1 to 5:3:1. And currently it is 8:1:1. So that means the new electric vehicles will be using the batteries which are made out of 80% of nickel. 80% of the nickel. It's because of the range demand of the car. Secondly, most of the countries are running behind electric vehicles. So everyone is shoring up the electric vehicle production. That means the China's export or the hunger to export the electric vehicle is also great. We have seen this. We are seeing this. Yeah. But on the other hand, most of the countries are putting an import ban on Chinese electric vehicles. So Europe is coming up, US has already announced. I guess later or sooner India will also come up as soon as the production will soar up. There are already 2 or 3 major electric vehicle companies in China which have gone bankrupt. Fourth important thing, bulls in the market. Bulls run metals. They love metal. And I read recently an article which says that the metal has been too stable for a very long period of time, and bulls do not like it. So tell me why LME should not be volatile. Thank you.
Good. Interesting. Yes, volatility everywhere. Speculators love volatility. That's how they make the money. Okay. Vishalji, coming back to you. In the recent budget, the government abolished the import duty on ferronickel, right? And you, of course, are one of the largest importers of ferronickel in India. How do you see that impact to come into the place? And are you aware that other Indian producers are also using ferronickel, especially induction furnace? Can they use ferronickel?
Yes, ferronickel definitely. Everybody can use ferronickel. Induction would need low carbon. Otherwise, if we have a AOD in line, then high carbon ferronickel can be easily used. Similarly, NPI also has high carbon, so we need an AOD just to remove that carbon. But coming back to your question of the removal of custom duty, it practically does not matter because almost all of India buys ferronickel or NPI from Indonesia, and hardly anything comes in from Anglo or Vale or South 32. So Indonesia as it is has a FTA with India, so duty was already zero. So effectively there is not much of an impact on that.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I have a very random question to another long producer who's not with us in the panel, who is sitting there in front of me. Gopalji, I have a question for you. Sorry, I can't make you escape me. Can somebody give him a mic? So just now Vishalji mentioned that induction furnaces can also use ferronickel, right? So Gopalji, are you in Lexicon Steels, are you also using ferronickel, or what are your plans, or you continue to remain focused on scrap only?
No, we definitely use ferronickel, and it is a major requirement for producing stainless steel. Ritesh, but now this ferronickel is mostly coming from Indonesia in the form of NPI. So yes, the problem that I am going to ask, in fact, to maybe the panelist here, and maybe you, how this CBAM is going to impact this import of NPI into India, because I heard that the emission is about 10 times more in producing this NPI as compared to scrap. So what will be the impact? But definitely in induction furnace we don't use much of ferronickel, it's mostly scrap, but EOD, yes, that's the answer to your question.
Vishal? Yes, so who can take that CBAM googly? Vishalji, you have to bear the brunt. Where is the JSL team now? Not cheering anymore. Sunilji, you would like to take take the mic?
Yes, that would be
Yeah.
good.
I think so. We have a mic for Sunilji over there. Yes. He's also very, very experienced, very, very nice person. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Well, I guess this is a common ground for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody is looking after decarbonization. So this is an emerging concept, and I'm 100% sure as we go along, people will find a way how to achieve the minimum carbon levels. But at this point of time, I don't think anybody has the correct answer. But this is a common problem for everybody.
So your CBAM audit is happening already, JSN?
Yes, we are doing something. I don't have the exact details with me, but I heard that we are one of the low carbon producers in India. So our carbon emission levels are already very low, and as you know that historically we used to produce our stainless steel only through scrap.
Yes.
70 to 80% of our nickel requirement used to come from scrap only.
Yes.
And going forward, we'll see how we can achieve, similar level of carbon standards by using more NPI, because we have produced our own, we have established our own facilities back in Indonesia. So now shortly we'll be producing NPI, and we'll see how we can meet the standard of carbons consuming our own NPI.
Yeah, because, please correct me if my understanding is correct. I think Gopalji has a very, very relevant question. If you get a material which is raw material which is a very high carbon inducive material, you got to work towards it to have an audit done, or probably have an alternate source where your overall finished product carbon is neutralized, right?
See, if you see the production process of NPI, there are two major ingredients. One is nickel ore and the other one is electricity.
Nickel and?
Nickel ore and electricity. Both these put together represents around 80% of your cost of production of NPI. So there is no substitute of nickel ore. If you have to produce NPI, then you have to consume nickel ore. Okay. As far as electricity is concerned, you can always convert from the traditional electricity to the green energy. So most of people are now putting their green energy plants. So this is the only way through which you can make your NPI green, because there is no substitute of nickel ore, no? Right? The other thing which you can do is like you can improve your process, how you are mining the nickel ore. Otherwise, if you have to produce NPI, you have to produce from nickel ore only. You cannot produce NPI by consuming scrap. Right?
Understood. Gopalji has a comment on this. A mic for him, please. Yeah, please.
So another thing I would like to understand is what is the seriousness of this CBAM? Like what I see, Europe is very, very serious, no doubt about it. But how about other countries, like fellow friend said about Indonesia? Are they going to be serious about CBAM in producing this NPI? Or how serious is US? How serious is India? Europe is definitely serious, no doubt about it. So any comment on that?
Just to answer his question if I can, like the seriousness as far as Jindal is concerned, we're quite serious about it, and we have already started collecting details from all our suppliers about their carbon emission levels. And as far as Indonesia is concerned, I attended last month one conference, SNM conference in Indonesia, and I heard that Indonesian government has allotted 30% of their nickel ore quota to green projects only. So they are also very serious. Like they have allotted around 225 million ton of nickel ore quota to various producers, out of which 30% they allotted to the green producers. So I think everybody is getting serious on this, but it will take some time. This is an emerging concept. Countries like India, Indonesia were emerging countries, developing countries. Europeans can think about it at a larger scale because they are already developed countries. So they can give more focus to decarbonization. And as we learned yesterday in our conference that whatever we are producing in India, steel, that is only for our own consumption. Our production level can be consumed internally. So first people will be more focused how they can produce more economically, like using the iron ore through DRI mode. And only then they will think about how they can make it more green.
I can immediately relate to this statement. 2 weeks ago, I was in Ludhiana, and I was also talking to some of my friends in Mundra. So all of them saying one thing: 70-80% they are using DRI right now. It is more cheaper, more effective, and they have to cater to domestic market. Scrap usage has come down because it's expensive. So he's immediately saying the same thing. First they look at their own in-house demand and take care of that, and when they have to fulfill the export obligation, then they'll work according to that. Right? This is what you're saying, right?
Once we have something excess which we want to supply to Europe, only then we'll try to comply their standards.
Agree. Totally agree. Totally. And Mr.
Yeah, so just wanted to ask the experts on the panel, those seated in the audience as well. The discussion is veering towards CBAM. So of course my understanding is that the carbon steel producers are at a disadvantage compared to stainless steel producers when it comes to CBAM. That's because of the default thing that the higher use of scrap in stainless steel production compared to carbon steel production in India. So that is number one. Whether I'm correct in thinking so. So I'm asking the experts that. The one other thing is that if the dependence on NPI grows from now on, so as Sir quite rightly said that decarbonization of electricity and decarbonization of traditional mining processes will have to be taken seriously. So is there a possibility that the usage of NPI will grow from now on? And what will happen? Which course will the industry take? If anybody can take that question, please.
I would like to just add, answer your question that effectively green steel तो उतना ही बनेगा जितना स्क्रैप होगा, ठीक है, to put it very plainly. Green steel तो उतना ही बनेगा जितना स्क्रैप होगा, but yes, now as I mentioned in my presentation, that point of nationalization of scrap or hoarding and not allowing others to come to your geography and take scrap out of your geography, that will impact this more. Because what will happen is that, okay, Europeans are way ahead of us in their, you can say, in their stage of development. So now they are trying to create barriers in terms of green economy, green steel, green this and green that, and not just creating a, you can say, luxurious boundary walls around steel manufacturing. So yes, NPI will always remain a very strong competitor to scrap. Effectively, possibly these developed economies and developed geographies will hold on to their scrap. They will not allow their scrap to go out of their boundaries, or they will put on some huge heavy penalties, duties, whatever, and slowly, but yes, it will take time. But as we have seen the growth graph of stainless steel manufacturing in India, and since stainless steel has a lifespan of 20-25 years, this growth which India will undergo in next few years, probably up to 2035, and if we add 25 years to that, so which becomes 2060, then this stainless steel will start coming into the recycling again. So that is when probably we will also be more comfortable with the scrap availability.
Just to add one more point, like consumption of NPI is already on the high side. If you see the figures, the total production of primary nickel is around 3.38 million ton, out of which 1.8 million ton is being produced through NPI. Indonesia alone is producing around 1.35 million ton or 1.45 million ton and 0.35 million ton from China. And if you see the consumption pattern, only 1 million ton nickel is coming from secondary route, which is stainless steel scrap. So NPI consumption is already on the higher side. And if you see the economics or the commercial side of it, currently the NPI prices are lower than scrap. If you calculate the effective cost of nickel, then
Yes,
the
for sure.
price level, the effective cost of nickel through scrap is around 60% of LME, whereas the effective cost of nickel through NPI is around 53-54, which is already cheaper.
Gopalji, I'd like to attend your question. You asked CBAM, we also import around 250,000 ton of steel into Europe. So I know very well what CBAM means. because we are declaring every month a lot of CBAM things. So as far as the seriousness of CBAM is concerned in Europe, Europeans are very, very serious about CBAM. How to mitigate it? You need to buy the carbon tax, or you need to, you know the things. One interesting thing I like to bring to your notice and to many of your notice is that Europe is on verge of producing carbon-free, or not producing, mining carbon-free nickel and cobalt through seed raising. There is a company called Gemini, G-E-M-E. It's a Belgian-based company, $6 billion company. They have already mined 2,000 tons of nickel off the shore of Belgian coast. ArcelorMittal has invested $2 billion, and out of which I think $600 million has been granted by Belgian government to turn the ArcelorMittal's Ghent facility into a complete green steel facility. So Europeans are becoming very, very serious. I think we all need to be very aware about that. That's it.
Great. So, Amarji, I think we have run through the time. I still have many questions, but we have to respect the other sessions also. Thank you very much for the wonderful panelists over here for giving us such precious time. The discussions are very, very interesting, and thank you all eminent guests over here. I would now like to call on stage our President, Mr. Sanjay Mehta ji, Gopal Gupta ji, Director, please, respected Bauji, please come and give memento to the panelists. Please, sir. Dhaval ji, Sanjay ji, please come. Yeah. Aap hi aaye, please.
सुमित मूवमेंट कर रहा हूँ मैं.
Sanjay ji, please come with Prakash. Please.
Token of appreciation for